right, so the very first verse you read right there, it said, and after this it came to pass that David smote the Philistines. And it says that word subdued them. Subdued. That means like he put them under his thumb. He controlled them. He was able to not just defeat the Philistines, he was able to control the Philistines. This was Israel's chief enemy. We already talked about Goliath and that giant. When the Philistines and Israel went to battle before David, normally the Israelites lost. They occasionally won, but usually they would lose, and usually the Philistines ruled over them. In fact, in the time of Saul, one of the battles, none of them had swords except for Saul and Jonathan. The rest of them had pitchforks. They had pitchforks and rakes and shovels, and like they're going to battle without real weapons because the Philistines were in charge and didn't let them have weapons. These people that had beaten Israel over and over and over again, that just seemed like a much stronger, more ferocious people, David not only beat them, he subdued them. This seemed like something that was not possible. There's no way Israel's ever going to subdue the Philistines. Like we're going to be over them. They'll be working for us. We've been working for them for so long, I can't even remember. It's been generations. You're telling me not only will we win a fight against them, we'll actually have the upper hand? Yeah, David subdued them. He ruled over them. He was able to take the Moabites, people that had been kind of a thorn in Israel's side. They were never really in a straight-up battle. They were more advantageous. They'd take advantage of people. They'd steal and they'd rob and stuff like that. David was able to take care of that. They began to bring him gifts. When this guy Hadaezer, who was Syrian, and he had a bunch of men with him, when he tried to come into Israel to take part of it, not only did David throw him out, he beat all of his armies, he beat the Syrians that tried to help him, and he took over part of their country. David is growing Israel, and everybody's coming to him, and everybody's bringing him gifts. The fact that he was able to do all of these things did not seem possible. In the time of Saul, there's no way this seemed possible. But David was doing things that seemed impossible. He was doing things that did not seem like they were going to happen. David was constantly reaching and going for new things. And not only was he reaching and going for new things, he was getting them. He was accomplishing them. You know how we are. We have goals. Like we have these dreams and stuff like that. And you think like, it's a dream, but you already know it's never going to happen, right? Like it's a daydream. Like there's no way the Valentine's banquet, I could have this beautiful girl come with me. No, I'm just kidding. But you have these goals and these dreams. Maybe it's something at school. Maybe it's your grades. You stink at school. It is what it is. You have nothing but F's, and F does not stand for fantastic. You get that all the time, and you think there's no possible way that I could get good grades, that I could graduate, that I could go to college. No one's ever gone to college in my family. I'm saying you would be saying this. People have gone to college in my family. But perhaps you'd say that. Perhaps you'd say there's no way that someday down the road I could have a family of my own, a place where I can live, a place where it's peaceful, where there's not yelling and shouting and throwing and cursing and swearing, because you've only known that. The idea of you having something different sounds crazy to you. There's no way. Does that even exist? That only exists like in Disney movies. It's not real life, right? Because that's all you have known is warring and fighting. Perhaps it's warring and fighting, and then when you come to church here, everybody puts on the happy faces, especially if your family comes here. And like at home, it's a war zone. But here, it's so peaceful, and everybody gets along, we're all whistling together. And you think it'd be nice to not have the hypocrisy, to have the peace at home and have the peace at church. For us to be who we are at church at home. But you think, it's not really possible though, right? It's a fantasy. It's a fairy tale. It's not really real. Can that really happen? David set goals and he accomplished those goals. Defeating and subduing the Philistines did not seem possible, and yet there it was. Here he was. You need to start getting back to the point where you start to have goals and dreams. If you think the rest of your life is going to be terrible, you got the wrong mindset. If you think like the next 10 years are going to be worse than the last 10 years, like that you peaked in high school, my friends, that sounds like a miserable life, doesn't it? It's all downhill after senior year, right? What is this, High School Musical? There's nothing after that? You should be having goals. You should be having dreams, and you should believe that they can happen. Why not? Why couldn't they happen? Why are they impossible? Why is it impossible for you to have these things that you would want to have? Why is it impossible for you to have the home that you want, the family that you want, the job that you want, the career that you want, the life that you want? Who is here to tell you you can't do that? Who is here to stop you? Now, if you have some crazy dream, some bad dream, okay, maybe God will stop you. You want to do something wild and crazy. You want to be the head of the Satanist church, okay, that's a bad dream. But I don't think most of your dreams are like that. I think most of your dreams are, I'd like to have a good life. Perhaps my life up to this point has been a little rough. I'd like for it to be a little bit less rough. I'd like for it to be better. Why not? David was able to subdue the Philistines. It's time you subdue the Philistines in your life. It's time for you to say, I'm tired of this beating me. I'm tired of losing to this. I'm tired of being stuck in this rut. I'm tired of nothing ever changing. I'm tired of things always being the same, and saying, no, I'm going to beat the Philistines in my life, because it can happen and you can do it. It can be done. David did what seemed impossible, and you got to start believing that you can do that. That it can happen in your life. That it's not just for other people, and it's not just for people who have parents that are pastors or staff members, but it can happen to you. To you who don't have your parents in your house, who maybe have never met your own parents, or have gone through tragedy, or have lost a loved one, or whatever it is, whatever your struggles are, why could you not beat that? David was able to do it. He was able to accomplish a lot of amazing things. How was he able to do this? Well, the answer is right there in the verse that we read. It said that in verse number 7, the Lord preserved David whithersoever he went. Sorry, verse number 6. And then it says it again at the very end of the chapter. It says there in verse number 14, and the Lord preserved David whithersoever he went. David did not do this alone. He didn't do it by himself. He didn't do it in his own strength. That's how he was able to do it. This is why we aren't able to do it. We're constantly trying to do it in our own strength, myself included. We're constantly trying to take care of our problems on our own, and we're not getting the help and support we need. David set goals, and then God helped him achieve those goals. The Lord preserved him wherever he went. A great quote we would always hear in college was, expect great things from God, attempt great things for God. You say, I'm going to attempt big things for God, then you should expect for him to come through. We have such little dinky prayers. You know that? Oh God, please help me have a good day today. Is that bad to pray that? No, not at all. That's a great prayer. But you should maybe aim a little higher. Oh God, please help me find, matching shoes. Please help me have clean socks in my top drawer. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Some of you, please help me get an A on this test that I didn't study for. Nothing wrong with that, I get. You probably should study. You got to shoot for higher. I'm talking about praying for your parents. I'm talking about saying, I'd love to see my parents in church. I'd love to see my mom fix whatever's going on. I'd love to have my dad be dad. And you think, that's not possible. What are you talking? That's not my dad. That's not possible. Why not? Philistines got subdued. Why is it impossible for your dad to come to the Lord? Why is that impossible? I serve a God that can do anything. God said, is there anything too hard for the Lord? No, there's nothing too hard for the Lord. So why don't we pray that way? Why are we praying these little itty-bitty dinky requests? I'm not against that. You should. That's fine. You want to pray for you and this person to get along. There's nothing wrong with that. I pray those prayers too. But then I also have some really big prayers that are crazy. And I'm thinking, there's no way, right? But I'm going to pray for it anyway. You got to pray for those. You got to add those. You attempt great things for God, and then you expect him to do big things for you. I'm talking about those impossible things in your life that you're thinking about right now. You think they're impossible. They're not impossible. They're not impossible. They're not impossible. You go to God and see if he won't lead the way for you. He preserved David every way he went. Every time David went to battle, God was there and he preserved him. Now, what does it mean to preserve someone? He kept David safe. God was watching out for David. He was helping protect David from all the things. If you have things that scare you, Anthony got a little bit scared tonight, right? God's going to preserve you. I was telling him, I said, don't get worried, man, because when we're doing the work of the Lord, I feel invincible. Now, when we're not, I'm looking like, okay, if I'm going to Stater Brothers, I picked the nice Stater Brothers. But man, when I'm serving the Lord, I'm not scared. Why? Because it's not me. God's going to preserve me, right? And if it's time for me to go, I guess it's time for me to go. Time for me to go. Brother Chris is the pastor now, all right? That's what's going to happen. Pastor Chris, that sounds nice, doesn't it? God's going to preserve you. What else did he preserve David? David achieved so much. He had such influence, and he had such power, but he still stayed the same guy he was. You ever met somebody who they're cool, and you like them, they're your friend, and then they get some kind of promotion, they become the boss at the job, they get some kind of money, and they change, They're completely different. They're completely different. That is what happened at college all the time. There'd be a guy, and we're cool, he's a nice guy, and then he gets on security, and he turns into, Mr. Rent-A-Cop, and he wants to see your ID, and he's going to fingerprint you. I'm like, dude, stop. And he come with their little fake police car. I mean, they completely changed who they were. There's a quote. You want to see someone how they really are, give them power. Give them absolute power. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Give someone too much power, and it will change them. Give them too much money, and it will change them. Except David. David didn't change. He stayed the same guy. Why? God preserved him. He kept him the same guy. Our church is not that big, but it's growing. If you've been here a while, you've seen it's grown. I have dreams. I'd love for it to be big one day. That would be awesome. But you know what I'd really want if it was to get big? Me to stay the same person. I don't ever want to be someone who, I got my little security, my little Secret Service, the sunglasses, we go walking out together like penguins and everybody stay away, stay away from the pastor. I don't want to be that guy. I've seen that happen to certain people. I don't want that. I want to stay the same. You should stay the same. Whether good things come in your life and you're on top of the world and you make a lot of money and you send pastor a nice tithe check, thank you, and you're driving a really nice car, you should still be the same person. And if things go really bad and things go really wrong and everything's falling apart and oh my goodness, what's going on, you should still stay the same person. You want God to preserve you. You want to be the same person through it all. Can I ask you, are you the same person through it all? Or are you like this? You're up and you're down and it's what kind of a mood is she going to be in today, She going to throw the coffee cup today? Let's watch out. That's not how we should be. You should be the same person all the time. I'm not saying I never have bad days, but you should not be happy one moment, upset the next moment. You should not be all sweet one moment, and then you're punching people the next moment. That should not be how you are. You need to be preserved. You're very respectful here. None of you would get out of line, because I have all those guys back there. You're going to wind up in the dumpster. No, I'm just kidding. But none of you guys would be disrespectful here. You would never yell at Brother Chris. You would never yell at Brother Matt or Brother Mateo or Brother Jacob. You're very respectful. So I imagine that's happening at home too, right? We're not yelling at mom or dad, right? You would never do that, right? Listen, if you're going to yell at somebody, I'd rather you yell at us than yell at your parents. I didn't have you in the hospital. I haven't raised you. I haven't fed you. We bring you ice cream, barely. That's about it. I have not been there for you every single day. Your mom and your dad have. That's who deserves your respect. So if you're going to disrespect somebody and you're going to be someone who's two-faced, then I would prefer for you to be that here than for you to be that at home with mom and dad. They should be getting your best, not us, but everyone wears the face here and everyone, oh, hey, brother, hey, how you doing, sister? And oh, God bless you. We're all, just clicking our heels and walking along. But at home, man, we're terrors. We're flipping tables and we're yelling and we're screaming and we're throwing stuff. I mean, what in the world is that? No. We want to be like David. Let God preserve you. David reached for big things and God did big things. Why could God not do big things in your life? Tonight, I'd like for you to think of something, some sort of a goal, some sort of a vision in your life that you want God to do this year for you. This is the year I want God to do, and you fill in the blank. And then you pray about it. You pray like it all depends on God, and then you work like it all depends on you. You do everything you can to make it happen, knowing that it's going to take God blessing, but God's not going to bless a lazy person. God's not going to bless you if you sit on your rear and don't do anything about it. You got to try and do your part and watch God do what you can't do. Set some goals tonight. some big dreams and some big goals that you want to see God move in your life. Stop doubting. Stop saying it can't be done. Stop saying, oh, there's no way. Oh, no, I can't do it because of where I'm from, because of how I grew up, because of who my parents are, because what my last name, because this, because that, my nationality, how much money we have. Forget all that. It can happen. God can do it. Dear Lord, thank you for tonight. I pray, God, you would just help these young people, Lord. I pray, God, we would take a lesson from David. He was such a good example, especially during this part of his life. And what he was able to accomplish was truly amazing. All of the enemies were put down. They were on top of the world. How many of these young people can say they live on top of the world? The fact is, many times they struggle. They struggle with sadness. They struggle with depression. They struggle with anxiety. And you know what? As a Christian, that shouldn't be the case. Doesn't mean our lives are perfect. Doesn't mean everything's just wonderful. But we should have big dreams. We should be excited about the future. And I pray, God, you would help us to do that. I pray, God, we'd be like David, that you would preserve us. You'd protect us as we go forward, but you'd also protect who we are on the inside. We'll give you the praise and glory for it. In your name I pray, amen.